Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is our second test broadcast or video stream of our stock market show, which is yet to have a name. So all suggestions are welcome in the comments, as long as they're like reasonably polite. Before we get started, we have to do our disclaimer. There it is. So like we said last week, don't listen to anything we say. You are guaranteed to lose money. I think that was a bit extreme. So this time it's everything stated here is the opinion of the commentator, is not meant as serious financial advice, and no financial advisor's relationship is created. I actually work for and own a financial advisory firm, a multifamily office. And we do give financial advice. So this is not one of those cases. I just have to make that clear. And I have to also disclose my job. So, or my job, one of my many jobs right now. So last week, first thing I need to do is eat a little crow, because I told Tucker that what was the stock?
Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's. Okay.
Up 10% so far.
It's up 10% since I told you not to buy it. And
Yep, since you told me not to buy it, I've been up 10%.
Okay, so here's a picture of Dave and Buster's. Here's that little move right there. Like I said, again, this is Dave and Buster's, just not even back to where they were pre-COVID, and yet they've lost a bunch of money. That money all had to go somewhere. How is this stock worth as much or more than it was in all these years pre-COVID? But you're the expert there. I don't have any positions at Dave and Buster's. I did, and they were liquidated last week, so before we talked. But anyway, I do have to eat my share of crow there. I think the new excitement is in the biotech sector. This is a broad-based biotech index, which holds a lot of large cap biotech stocks. But I think that's kind of the new excitement among your Reddit reading crowd. What kind of stuff you've been reading on Reddit this week?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different stuff about silver, Dogecoin, the meme cryptocurrency is a big one. And a bunch of different stuff about maybe possible legal action against Reddit users, which some people are pretty scared about.
Oh yeah. So wait, you've seen, I mean, this I think is a bigger deal than people understand. I saw a California congressman on CNBC last week talking about how there ought to be a law that people can't buy a stock, talk it up all around the media, and then sell it once it goes up. And the commentator actually interrupted the California congressman on CNBC and said, "Excuse me, sir, there is a law. It was called the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, which is true. This is a scheme. It's called pump and dump. One of the aspects of it is you have to buy a stock with the intention of creating a frenzy around it in order to sell at a higher price." And I do think the SEC, and I did read this today actually, that there are actual investigations going on. The SEC is starting to look at some of the individuals, and this could be really bad. I mean, what I was telling people is just do not post on these boards if you don't understand the laws that apply to you. And then there's another law, and one of the other SEC created in the Securities and Exchange Commission legislation about and one of the regulations that was created under that about coordinated action. And coordinated action among traders is also illegal. So even if it's not a pump and dump scheme, having coordinated action can be. If coordinated action is meant to influence the price, which is clearly what these people on this message board are saying. Hey, let's all get together. Let's all agree to move the price at the same time. Let's all get rich together. I mean, it's really something else. And then they're saying, "Oh, and please tell other people to do this." I mean, it's like that adds conspiracy to coordinated action. So I think we're going to see some real fallout from this. The problem that makes me worry is that, how are these guys going to take it? How are your buddies going to take it? Where are they going to see the SEC coming after them as just another case of the man and their wealthy sponsors going after the little guy for having some success? Do you think that'll be the case?
I absolutely do, because all of them are now calling for accounts like Robinhood to be attacked for this, because they halted trading that drove down the share price, helping out the guys in the suits is what they call them.
Okay.
Helping out the suits. And so they think that this whole thing is basically just the rich beating it to them. I think that this will just further push that narrative.
Oh, it's so sad. I mean, this law, these regulations were put in place to protect small investors who weren't a member of the insiders club in the 20s, when pumping and dumping was actually a legal thing that people would do. And it was like, well, it's all big boys playing against big boys, nobody cares. And then as a way to make the stock market more widely acceptable to everybody was why these laws were created, and to actually protect them. And now you're saying they're going to claim they're being used against them. I mean, the Robinhood was a victim of another law that requires brokers to have a certain amount of capital that covers the trades that they're doing. And Robinhood was so small and wasn't ready for all these big trades to come in, for the quantity of trades to come in. And their closing down was also seen as the big guy affecting them, when in reality, their own custodians and their own counterparts and the own regulations were forcing them to keep a certain amount of capital that they didn't have. That's why they had to start limiting those trades. I mean, they could have just stopped trading altogether and only allowed liquidations, actually. I think that would have been the other one. I think, to their credit, they actually tried to allow people to trade one share, I think.
Well, at first, it was just those stocks. They just allowed nothing from trading of those stocks. Everything else in the whole market went on as normal. And then they just didn't allow those few stocks that have been gone up.
But those are the stocks they got in trouble with, because they have to place margin by name, actually, is how the margin works. Or not margin, I should say capital. They have to put in capital, and it's by name. And as the names get concentrated, you have higher capital requirements the more concentrated it gets. So it's almost like they would have had to put very little capital up against somebody buying call options on Ford, but an equal dollar amount of call options on a name like GameStop, they would have to put up a lot more capital on. So they were rationing their capital in that case. But then they were able to raise it. They went to a bunch of rich people who all piled $3.4 billion into Robinhood, all at once, to be able to allow them to re-expand trading again. So that was those same big guys doing that. What else are you seeing on the board? Do you see anybody else that's got problems with this? Or are they even talking about it?
I had a question for you on these boards and on the pump and dump system as a whole. What's the difference between what Reddit users did with GameStop and stuff like that versus what Elon Musk is doing right now with Dogecoin, where he keeps posting about it and the stock or the crypto has gone up double within 24 hours? So
the difference is, and I've been, when I worked at Morgan Stanley, I did a couple TV appearances, and it's important to or when you do talks, if you ever mention a name, you have to be careful. Like if you buy a stock and talk it up, right? Because you believe it's a good stock. I bought this stock at 20, it's now at 30, but I think the real value of the stock is 50. And here's the reasons why, and here's the comparisons, and here's the true value. That's a real argument you can make. What you better not do if you go out on the media and say that the stock you bought at 20 that's now at 30, you better not sell it at 35 because you made it go up that day because everybody heard you. That's pump and dump. If I actually do what I say, which is I'm holding it until it gets to 50, that is a real thing. I'm following through with what I said, and I'm also disclosing all of my positions.
Gotcha.
And all the information I'm giving out is true, right? And that's the difference. So now if Elon Musk is trying to pump up this Dogecoin, which I think the government currently says are not securities, or I don't, it's a legal funky business, even if cryptocurrencies count as securities or be affected by these laws. But if he were to talk up Tesla, right, and come out with a bunch of announcements, and then that made the stock go up, and then he sold into that, he would absolutely be guilty. But if he's talking up something after buying it and telling people he's bought it and then stays in it, right, that's not a pump and dump.
Gotcha. So the fact that he stays in it is the fact. But with the Robinhood, all those guys were saying to hold. They were all trying to hold it for as long as possible. It didn't seem like they wanted to sell at all.
I mean, what makes me wonder is how many of those guys were saying hold while they were selling.
Okay.
I don't know. I worry about that. And there will be some fallout from this. And maybe the fallout is just that all these small traders stay there and they learn something. And maybe the fallout is They make message boards illegal. I hope not. I mean, I like this kind of popular methodology and everybody feeling like they're participating in our shareholder democracy, right? This is a good thing, I think, for our society and wealth distribution even perhaps, but I worry about what kind of messed up regulations might come out about this or overreaching regulations that actually harm the process. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. All right, guys, that's it. We're trying to keep these short and fun. So that's it. I didn't ask Tucker to do any calculations on his calculator today, but we'll try and we'll try and do some for next time.